All right, let's talk about a real giant of literature, Herman Melville's Moby Dick. It's a book that everyone's heard of, but what's it really all about? Well, we're going to dive in and find out.
So, when most people hear Moby Dick, they think one thing, right? The ultimate fish story. You know, a big, swashbuckling adventure about hunting whales on the open ocean. And hey, on some level, you're not totally wrong. But what if that's just the tip of the iceberg? What if the whale isn't really the point? What if this whole massive book is actually a deep dive into the human condition itself? That's what we're here to explore.
So let's set the scene. This thing was published way back in 1851. And yeah, on the surface, it's a thrilling adventure story. But lurking just beneath all that action is, wow, one of the most profound philosophical journeys you'll ever find in a book.
I mean, we're talking about the big stuff here. Obsession, fate, good versus evil, and maybe the biggest one of all, what it means to be human in a universe that often feels like it just doesn't care.
Okay, so before we get lost in all those huge ideas, we got to understand the plot. And it all boils down to one whaling ship, the Pequod, and a voyage that, well, is pretty much doomed from the very start.
It starts out pretty straightforward. Our narrator, a guy named Ishmael, is kind of fed up with life on land, so he signs up for a whaling trip. Simple, right? Wrong. He pretty quickly realizes this is not your average voyage. The captain, this intense figure named Ahab, he's not just out for any whale. Oh no, he has one mission, to hunt and kill Moby Dick, the legendary white whale that bit off his leg. So the whole ship just gets dragged around the world, not for money, but for Ahab's personal vendetta. It all leads to this epic, tragic showdown, where the whale sinks the ship, kills the whole crew, well, almost everyone. Ishmael, our narrator, is the only one who makes it out alive.
And this is really the heart of the conflict, isn't it? You've got these two totally opposite worldviews on one boat. First, there's Captain Ahab. He's all about revenge. He looks at the universe and sees an enemy he has to fight. And that defiance, it completely destroys him. But then you have Ishmael. He's not looking for a fight. He's looking for understanding. He's willing to just sit with the mystery of it all. And the key difference? Ishmael lives.
All right, so we've got the plot down. Now let's do what the book does and dive way, way below the surface, because this is where things get really interesting. We're talking about the meaning behind all that madness.
If there's one word you need to know to get Ahab, it's this: monomania. It's basically an obsession with one thing that's so intense, so all-consuming, that it just burns away everything else. Your logic, your sense of right and wrong, even who you are as a person. And for Ahab, that one thing is Moby Dick. That obsession is what drives this entire story forward.
And through Ahab's obsession, Melville just opens up this whole universe of ideas. You've got the classic man versus nature struggle, right? But then there's fate versus free will. Is Ahab just playing out a destiny he can't escape? Or is he making these choices? The book also seriously questions religion. And get this, for the 1800s, it's incredibly radical. The crew of the Pequod is made up of guys from all over the world, from different races and backgrounds, all working together. It was a direct challenge to the prejudices of the time.
And this quote, wow, this just says it all, doesn't it? To the last I grapple with thee. He's not just talking to a whale here. He's screaming at God, at fate, at the entire universe. It's just pure, raw defiance, right to the very end. You can't look away.
So, that all-consuming rage brings us to the real genius of Moby Dick, the symbolism. You have to understand, in this book, nothing is just what it seems. A whale is never just a whale.
Which leads to the big question, the one the whole book revolves around. Is Moby Dick just a big, dangerous animal? Or is he something else entirely?
And this is what's so brilliant. The answer is, well, yes, to all of it. For some, the whale is just the raw, terrifying power of nature. For Ahab, he's the living embodiment of a cruel god. For others, he might be the emptiness of the universe, or maybe even a reflection of our own obsessions. But really, what Moby Dick represents is the unknowable. That big, mysterious thing in life that we can chase forever but never, ever fully understand.
And it's not just the whale. The whole book is packed with this stuff. The ship, the Pequod, it's like a floating version of human society, with all these different people all unknowingly sailing toward disaster. The sea itself feels like this massive, deep, unconscious world. And even Ahab's fake leg, made from a whale's bone, it's this constant gnawing reminder of the vengeance that's literally supporting him and driving him forward.
So a book this deep, this ambitious, it must have been a smash hit right out of the gate, right? Ha.
Not even close. The story of how this book became a classic is almost as epic as the book itself.
Hard to believe now, but when it was published in 1851, Moby Dick was a complete flop. People wanted a fun adventure story, and instead they got this massive philosophical puzzle. It was a bust. In fact, Herman Melville died basically unknown. It took until the 1920s for people to go back, reread it, and realize, whoa, wait a minute, this is a masterpiece, and now it's considered one of the greatest novels ever written.
So why are we still talking about it? Simple. Its big questions are still our big questions. Think about it. An age of crazy ambition, environmental worries, a ton of uncertainty, a story about one person's obsession threatening to destroy everyone around them? Yeah, that feels pretty darn relevant today.
When you strip it all away, the novel really leaves you with two ways to face the world. You've got Ahab's way, rage against the universe, fight everything you can't control, and get completely destroyed by it. Or you have Ishmael's way, accept that some things are just mysteries, find humility, and live to tell the tale.
And that's the question Melville leaves for us, isn't it? When we come up against our own white whales, those huge, unknowable challenges in our lives, what do we do? Do we choose the path of Ahab or the path of Ishmael? Defiance or acceptance? It's something to think about for sure.